Today I'm going to show you my methods of acquiring a bond by only playing for 1 hour a day. A bond is an item that allows a player to obtain 14 days of membership. It can be acquired by purchasing it with real life money or by using in-game currency. First, let's see how much a bond is worth. Depending on your currency, the price will vary. For myself, one bond is equivalent to $7. Taking a look at how much it's currently worth in the Grand Exchange, at the time of this recording, the price is around 5.7 mil. If a bond provides you with 14 days of membership, that would mean that we would need to make 407k every single day just to upkeep one. Now, a quick disclaimer prior to showcasing the methods, I want to make it clear that this is not a guide nor something that you should follow and expect to have similar results. Remember that every account has different stats, a different bank, and access to different content. With that being said, we can agree that you can simply work for 1 hour of minimum wage just to pay for a bond, but personally, I find it to be much more satisfying just by playing the game and using your account's efforts to sustain it for itself. With that being said, let's get into the video. Let's begin with starting the timer by logging in. You can use this as a reference to see how much progress we made into the recording. This will end once we reach the 1 hour mark. The first method is one of my favorites. Herb runs are what I consider to be the best way to sustain a bond with the least amount of effort. I only use 3 herb patches, which are the disease-free patches, and I plant Snapdragons in each one of them. The supplies cost me 241k, and the yield was 370k. After calculations, the profit nets me 129k. The time this took was only 1 minute, and this is repeatable every 80 minutes. That would mean that I would only have to do this 4 times a day, providing a total of 516k for only 4 minutes of work each day. This method in itself is able to sustain a bond. I prefer this method out of everything just because it requires the least amount of effort, and sometimes I only log in to do this. The next method is Brutal Black Dragons. It does take a bit of initial cash to do this efficiently, but down the road the profits will pay for itself. I use a bone crusher necklace to auto bury the bones instead of picking them up. Dragon bones aren't worth nearly as much as black dragon hides, which these dragons drop in quantity of 2. This allows me more kills a trip and more inventory space for the black dragon hides, and you can also elk the rune and dragon drops while bringing more supplies for a longer trip. But for the purpose of this method, I'll condense it down to only 10 minutes. The supplies cost me 34k, and the yield was 170k. Since this is only one trip, it's not an accurate determination of how much you can make. Since the time it took us was only 10 minutes, that would mean that we would have to use this method for 30 minutes each day to upkeep a bond. I like Brutal Black Dragons because it's a consistent way of making money with a low amount of effort and attention. Most of the time, I do this while playing on other accounts. Zulrah is no surprise when it comes to making money. Once you get accustomed to it, it becomes one of the most largely consistent ways of making money. With a low requirement to access the boss, the real requirement comes with high initial costs and the stats to farm it efficiently. The supplies cost me 55k, and by doing one trip, it yielded me 545k. Now, I did manage to get a unique drop, and although it is a nice addition, I will not include it towards the calculations for this method. But I will include it at the end of the hour session just to see how much we made in total from everything. With that said, the profits not including the unique was 490k. The time this took me was 13 minutes, which is also the same amount we would need to do every day just to upkeep a bond. Zulrah is my favorite method of farming because after doing so much, his attacks become predictable to the point where you can always be one step ahead of the boss, instead of waiting around and reacting to what they will do next. Typically, I would try to do at least 10 kills a day. Last but not least, I'm sure we were all expecting this. This method speaks for itself and is considered to be the most consistent way of making money in old school RuneScape. With not only heavy requirements to access the boss, it also has huge initial costs to farm Vorkath effectively. I use melee with a Dragon Hunter Lance with a supply cost of 60k. I decided to do this for the remainder of the hour, so I was able to snag in 2 trips. The first one yielded 307k, while the second trip was 496k. Adding them both up to 800k, this gives us an average expectation of 400k a trip. After the cost of the supplies, our profit nets us 340k. The trip in itself took 13 minutes, and using that example, we would have to spend at least 16 minutes a day at Vorkath just to sustain one bond. Although Vorkath is the most profitable and consistent way of making money once you can do it more efficiently, it also plays down to RNG and luck. I don't like doing Vorkath compared to other methods because of how attention focus it requires. One small blunder will cost you heaps of food, or can even cost you your life. Normally, I would try to do a trip or two each day just to switch things up between Zulrah. Now wrapping up the hour, we can see how much we were able to make today. Using all the methods, we were able to acquire 1.8 mil, minus a total supplies of 450k. This nets us a profit of 1.35 mil. If we were to include the unique that we got from Zulrah, our total becomes 5.4 mil, and cutting in the supply costs, that nets us roughly below 5 mil. So those are my methods of how I upkeep a bond by only playing 1 hour a day. Honestly, it's possible to do that with just the herb runs alone, and that's not even factoring daily repetitions from other activities. I choose these methods because I love the efficiency behind them. I always feel that you should always make money while also progressing your account value, whether it's by leveling up your stats, or unlocking more content for more efficient ways of doing said methods. I try to stray away from mindless tasks like foraging or processing, considering that they do make you money. You're also wasting all that effort by not progressing your account by unlocking something that's better for your time. I would like to conclude this video by showing my appreciation to those that watch my content, and I plan to bring out more old school related videos as we move forward. Take care, and I'll see you again.